Hello and welcome to Scene on 7. I'm Patricia Mitchell and I'm going to be sitting in the chair for the next hour as we take you through a programme that promises something for everyone. And to prove the point, here's a rundown of what's coming up for you. Terry Adlam's been delving into who were the regulars at the Adelphi in Slough. Corinne Kent goes on location to sample the joys of a local hydro spa. We'll be showing you the unedited version of Corduroy's new single, Minnie. And Tom Magner goes in search of mythical creatures at a comedy club. Now, I promise you, you will understand what I mean by that once you've seen his report. And in the studio, Ron Piggott will be here to tell us the inside story of the Land's End to John O'Groats Walk. Eat Your Heart Out Fiona with 2 F's Campbell. 2 members of the Ashford Rotary Club will be here to tell us what they're up to and how you can join in the fun. We'll be having a look at what the Family Channel has got lined up for you this autumn, as well as all-important Cable Corporation competition where you could win free cable television for a whole year. Now, everyone's got a favourite, and mine's probably different to yours. Am I talking about the hazelnut swirl in the Quality Street packet? No, I'm talking about The Fool on the Hill and the Beatles. So while you work out what your favourite Beatles track is, have a look at this, and I bet you'll never just think of bingo when you see the Gala Club in Slough again.
You probably recognise this place. It's the Gala Club on the busy Bath Road here in Slough. Every night, loads of people come here for their regular bout of bingo, or perhaps just a bit of a social with their mates. But 30 years ago, in the 60s, when England swung like a pendulum do, this was one of Slough's 3 cinemas, and they called it the Adelphi.
58, 18, 1 and 8, 18, 38, 3 and 8, 38. 17, 1 and 7, 17.
Mind you, it wasn't only films that they used to show here. On several occasions, the cinema was taken over by some of the day's top pop performers when the Adelphi was magically transformed into a concert hall. Such golden greats as the Walker Brothers trod these very boards, with support from people like Engelbert Humperdinck and a little-known guitarist by the name of Mr. Jimi Hendrix. I wonder what happened to him. Cilla Black, Billy J. Kramer, they've all played here. Then, on May the 18th, 1963, the legendary, the man with the shades, Mr. Roy Orbison, made his British stage debut on this very stage. No less than 8 acts supported Roy on that spring night. They included a local girl by the name of Louise Caudette from Wraysbury, Jerry and the Pacemakers, who were doing pretty well with a couple of hits, including How Do You Do It. There was also another group from Jerry's hometown of Liverpool who were doing pretty well at the time. They had a current #1 hit. They were destined to become the biggest thing in pop culture ever. At the time, they were unstoppable. The Adelphi Slough welcomed the Beatles. Local girl Jane Russell was at that concert 30 years ago. I asked her what she remembered most about that fantastic evening.
Crikey, arriving there and looking in the car park and seeing thousands of people, and then every time, looking up at the front of the Adelphi, and every time a curtain moved or something, everybody would scream, and then getting in there and sitting up the back, and then as soon as they came on the stage, the screaming was so loud you couldn't hear a minute of the music at all.
I can remember the screaming, yeah. I can remember sitting way back. It was quite away from the stage, but and when they came onto the stage, it was just a blast of noise from the female fans.
It was mostly female.
I think so, yeah.
Can you remember any of the songs that they did?
Yeah, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, From Me to You. I saw her standing there.
Well, she was just 17, you know what I mean. And the way she looked was way beyond compare.
You just knew they were going to be big. You know, they had a couple of #1s and they were just taking off when they came to Slough, so it was an ideal opportunity to get to see them, you know.
I remember I went with a friend of mine who, unfortunately, since she died. She's the same age as me and she was lovely and best friend and everything at school. She was the one that got the tickets, but I don't know where she got them from. She just came to school one day and said to me, "Guess what?" I said, "What?" She said, "We're going to see the Beatles," and it was great, you know.
Why the screaming? Why the screaming?
I don't know, but I think they whipped up so much excitement in you. It was the only way you could release it. And, I mean, we were all in love. Everyone had their own particular Beatle that they were in love with. And mine was John Lennon. And I remember during the concert, a lull between songs and trying to scream, John, so he would hear, you know. But I'm sure he never did. He never looked up.
What was your voice like next day at school or something?
I couldn't speak and I couldn't hear for 3 days because the screaming was so loud. Yeah, we all had sort of like collarless jackets, round jackets, straight down boxed like that. I mean, lads used to wear their hair all cut the same. I mean, everything. I mean, my life was John Lennon for about 5 years.
In fact, rock and roll history was taking place on this very stage when Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers presented the Beatles with their first ever silver disc. The local Windsor, Slough and Eton Express covered the event.
The Beatles, a Merseyside singing group currently riding high in the pop record business with a $500,000 sale of From Me to You to their credit, will in years to come look back on Slough with sweet memories. For on Saturday, when they sang to capacity audiences at the Adelphi, they were presented with their first silver disc. Jerry, leader of the Pacemakers, handed over the silver disc to the Beatles on the stage amid thunderous applause from the audience. From me to you for From Me to You, quipped Jerry. And later, Ringo Starr, the Beatles drummer and spokesman, told the Express, when you're successful in show business, you certainly look back on milestones like this show in Slough. I hope we'll be back again. And judging from the reception accorded these singing lads from Liverpool, that was the hope of the Slough audiences on Saturday night too.
That May concert was the start of the Beatles' third tour of Great Britain. And amazingly, after only 1 week, Roy Orbison was supporting the Beatles. Beatlemania was taking over the country, and the boys had a new record out called She Loves You. Then, in November 1963, to prove that they had been accepted by the establishment, they were asked to appear on the Royal Variety Performance. Now, lovely little story here. When they all lined up being presented as the Queen Mum, she asked where were they playing next, to which they replied, Slough. Oh, she smiled, that's near us. And so it was on a dark, dismal, rainy bonfire night that the Beatles played the Adelphi for the second and final time.
They'd obviously really taken off by then, and we couldn't get tickets for love or money. And being bonfire night, we still went down their arm with a fistful of fireworks each, you know. And even the crowds outside, the atmosphere was, you could feel the atmosphere. And just by chance, we were by the stage door where the Beatles come out after the concert. And there was a limousine by the side of the stage door, and when they come out, the girls started going mad, you know, and it was a great opportunity for us to light a few fireworks and just roll them under the girl fans and cause a bit of mayhem, you know. It's a boyish prank, but it was funny at the time, you know.
Imagine you were screaming, no one noticed it, I think.
Yeah. But I can remember a copper getting hold of me by the scruff of the neck and just frog marching me out to the edge of the car park and just pushing me off and saying, don't bother to come back again, you know.
I remember getting the ticket, and it was really, really exciting because we'd listened to the music for so long and never seen anybody. And I think, as far as I remember, it was the first time that I'd ever seen anybody live on stage. I don't remember how I felt while they were singing, but I just remember that it was so loud and you just got carried away with everything else. Well, we were sat just watching singing and everybody was screaming and shouting, and the girl sat in front of us kept jumping up and down, and she just would not sit down, and you couldn't see who was on the stage. So my friend had brought an umbrella with her because it was wet. I remember it being really wet, and she just hit her on the head, and she sat down, and then 2 minutes later she just jumped back up again, and she would not sit down, and it was just so funny. And it was the first sort of thing that young people went and listened to. I mean, when you hear sort of, my mum and dad went to band shows and things, I mean, they danced, they didn't actually sit and listen. You know, I think it's probably the first time young people gathered and went to see their pop idol.
If you had to pick one memory about that concert or that day, is there anything that comes to mind?
Yes, it's sitting up in the gods at the Adelphi, looking down at the stage and thinking, my God, I can't believe this is a bit of history. And, oh, it was wonderful. And I was talking to my kids about it the other day. It's something that will never be repeated, that feeling. It's fabulous.
But that November was certainly a memory forever.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, just something that you'll never ever do again. I didn't think I'd probably never ever see them again. So, yes, it was.
They were just happening, weren't they, at the time? And everyone, like I say, everyone knew that they were going to make it. Because not only were they singing, but they were writing their own songs, which groups never did. You know, they just had the songs written for them, didn't they?
But looking back, I can't believe now that the Beatles came to Slough. You know, I think it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And for me, it's great to be able to tell my kids, you know, I was there. Yeah.
So far, we've got Strawberry Fields, Hard Day's Night and Love, Love Me Do as the main contenders for WMTV's Straw Poll of favourite Beatles singles. But I'm not sure my opinion counts, as I hadn't been even born in the early 60s. I don't think I got away with that. Now, if you were away for a large part of last summer, or you're a new subscriber to the Cable Corporation, you'll be forgiven for not knowing who our next guest is. However, on behalf of the rest of us, I would like to welcome back into the studio, safe and sound, Mr. Ron Pigott, Langley's very own bank manager, who not only walked from Land's End to John O'Groats, but also had time to send us postcards on a regular basis. Welcome, Ron.
Thanks very much.
It's great to see you in the studio, and I've got a collection of some of the postcards that you sent us, which was just wonderful. It was great to be kept in touch. You're so laid back and so relaxed about it. I'd still be tired from doing, how many miles was it? 1,076 miles.
That's right, yes. I didn't go from Land's End to John O'Groats via the shortest possible route. I kind of zigzagged up the country so that I could take in a lot of things that I wanted to see.
And what were the sort of things that we've got Jamaica Inn postcard here. I'm not sure if the camera can see that. There's Jamaica Inn. That's where you actually started off your journey, and you say on this postcard, made a good start on Sunday, today, Wednesday, crossing Bodmin Moor. 75 miles done, but you then had over 1,000 still to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes,
how did that feel setting out?
Well, for the first 3 weeks, the whole journey took me nearly 10 weeks.
Yeah.
For the first 3 weeks, you couldn't wipe the smile from my face. No, I was so excited and pleased to be doing it. It wasn't a labour. It was something I wanted to do, and I was really pleased to be getting on with it.
So what sort of things were you taking in on the way?
Well, coming up through the West Country, I'd never been down that way before in June. And I was absolutely surprised to see how beautiful the grass verges were. So that was something to look at. But it was more the history that I was interested in, going to historic places. And Jamaica Inn, of course, as it goes way back. It's been there a long time and was a haunt of smugglers.
Right, and so we've actually got a picture of where you actually started the journey at Land's End.
Yes.
Which, as you sort of say, you're absolutely full of joy and happiness there. I think I would have been quite as happy as you.
Yes.
But there you are.
I'm the only one in that picture, but actually all my family were down there to see me off, and I had some friends, and I also had some relatives who live in Cornwall who came down to see me, so there were about 10 of us at start.
Now, did they actually come and visit you along the way, or when they waved you off and said goodbye, you're off for 9 weeks or however long you planned it to be, was that going to be the last that you're going to see them for all of that time?
No, no. My wife visited me between Land's End and John O'Groats, I think about 5 times. All the family came down at various times. Members of my Rotary Club came to see me and stayed a whole weekend and walked with me.
So you got a lot of support?
Yes, I did, yes. Especially this side of the Pennines. As I got further and further north, it became more difficult for them to travel. But all the family came up to see me in Edinburgh, and my wife was at the finish. It
was absolutely brilliant, having all of that support.
Yes.
Now, there were other places that you actually went to go and see. Like, I know you went to go and see the Brontes' house. Is that right? When you were when you were up there?
Well, that was one of the highlights of the whole trip. I've always wanted to go to that place, and it's right on the Pennines. So the Pennine Way actually goes into Haworth, and I took it in as I went. And the Bronte Society have actually restored the old parsonage to the condition it was when the Brontes lived there 150 years ago. And they've got a lot of the old original furniture.
So it must have been quite fascinating to see where all these wonderful
Yes,
novels had been penned all these years ago.
Yes. They've got the large table in the lounge that the girls used to sit at writing, and they used to walk round and round the table.
Were you able to sit in it and have a go yourself? You didn't send us one of those postcards, did you, from a Bronte desk?
They've got a cord across the door, and you can only stand in the doorway and look.
Oh, I suppose that's fair enough.
Yes, well, I suppose they've got to preserve it.
Yeah. Now, you said for the first 3 weeks you had a smile on your face and you were really happy. When did that smile start to droop? Because we've got one postcard that actually says, not feeling quite so brilliant today.
Yes, I think I sent you that from Ironbridge, didn't I?
I think that's where it was.
I remember Ironbridge was a point where I was beginning to get a bit achy feet.
Yeah.
And I'd walked 350 miles then, so I suppose I'm entitled to have achy feet.
So you're roughly a third of the way there, and you started to get achy feet.
Well, yes, and
I'm impressed. I can tell you.
It did begin to worry me because I'd still got 700 miles to do, and I thought, you know, is this the beginning of the point where I can't carry on? But
you were determined, though, not to get blisters, which we all thought was a bit of a foolhardy and an exceedingly optimistic challenge.
Well, there you go.
Because we actually got one postcard, and I think it was this one where you first got to Scotland, and it was the only one where you hadn't mentioned the blister count, and it says, Pennine Way completed, now in Scotland, going well, covered 721 miles so far. It would have been ample for me, I can tell you. But there was no mention of blisters, whereas all the others you said, no blisters, and we thought you'd got a blister.
No, well, I left that off because I thought the joke, you know, no blisters, was wearing a bit thin, so I stopped mentioning it. But in actual fact, I did the entire journey without any blisters at all.
Brilliant. Now, we've also, when you actually got to the end of your journey, I gather that there was your wife waiting there for you.
Yes, I had a spectacular finish.
And we've actually got a picture of you there, looking very chirpy and very happy with your wife there.
But a little wet, because for the last half mile, a thunder and lightning storm and a cloudburst, and I finished in style in pouring rain.
Gosh, that must have that would have just finished me. But you're still smiling about it.
It's a good joke, isn't it? My wife was thoroughly drenched. I had waterproofs on, but she didn't, because she'd started waiting for me to arrive at about 4 o'clock when the sun was shining.
Oh, right. You had to be prepared on these. Now, you've actually, this was to raise money as well as to actually...
Yes. Janet, my wife, and the Rotary Club have been raising money whilst I've been away. And they've collected between them about £2,500.
Brilliant, that's excellent.
And that's going to the Cancer Research Campaign and the British Heart Foundation.
Well, it's just such good news, and it's wonderful to have you back and looking so healthy.
Thanks very much.
And are you feeling relaxed?
Yes, I am.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Thanks ever so much for coming in, Ron.
My pleasure.
Now, I want you to take a quick look at yourself, your posture, your general sense of well-being. And if you're feeling ever so slightly jaded or a little bit tense, then Corinne Kent might have the solution to your problem.
Every year, the UK loses millions of pounds due to stress-related illnesses. Illnesses that could have been prevented if we only learned how to take it easy. So, I'm off to Inglewood Health Hydro for a day of self-indulgent pampering. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
Welcome to Inglewood.
Oh, thanks. I'm Corinne Kent, and so I'd like to check in, please.
Okay, there's your room key.
Oh, terrific.
I'll get someone to come and help you with the luggage. If you'd like to go up to the room, it's just up the staircase here.
Oh, terrific. Thanks
Enjoy
very much.
your stay.
Cheers.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thank you.
looks great. Do a quick luggage check here. Let's see. Got my slippers. Got my bathrobe. Toothbrush. That's just about it, really. Nah, I'm not going to need my bathrobe, though, am I? Yeah, it looks like I was wrong. They do wear bathrobes here. First, it feels a little strange walking around like this. It's kind of like waking up late on a Saturday morning, you know, when you can't be bothered to get dressed. But it's not bad. I could get used to this. Nearly time for my tour. We're here with Mark Scudder today. He's the head chef here at Inglewood. And we're just taking a look at this spread, and it looks like the most unhealthy bunch of food I've ever come across. So, Mark, how do you actually get this to be 40 calories or 45 calories? I mean, what's your technique?
Well, it's all fresh ingredients. If we use mayonnaise, it's low-calorie mayonnaise. I mean, you have things like onions, which is next to nothing in calories, hummus, which is just chickpeas, garlic and onions. We've got fish, which is fairly low. Coleslaw around the corner, again made with low-fat calorie mayonnaise. We've got feta cheese there, which is really low in calories. And it's all fresh ingredients. I mean, you can eat healthily and good at the same time.
And if you couldn't bear to leave your cigarettes at home, then come down to the cellar bar. You can have a cigarette, a glass of white wine, and then you really feel like you're starting to unwind. We're sitting out here in Inglewood's garden with Douglas Brown, who's the operations manager. Now, Douglas, one of the things that intrigued me was the fact that Inglewood's called a health hydro. You know, why is that? Why isn't it called a health farm or a health resting home? Or
it's called a health hydro because we do still have our own water supply. So a lot of the guests, especially drinking water, are actually drinking water from our own spring.
Oh, wow.
So the hydro relates to the water.
So is that part of the history of it? I mean,
It is. I mean, it dates back to the time of Henry VIII, and it was originally a private house up until about 1850. So they obviously needed their own water supply, so that's remained.
Gosh. And is that how the kind of whole idea of health and relaxation came
Certainly
from?
in the spa side, because a lot of the treatments are to do with water, like the baths, the pool, the whirlpool, are all centred around water. So that's very much the centre of everything round about the pool area.
Just sitting here, relaxing, whiling away the time, while I wait for my G5. Been wondering what a G5 is. Wait, so this is G5?
Yeah.
Okay, so what exactly do you do? I'm with Karen, by the way, guys.
Right, basically all you do, it's just like a mechanical form of massage. Actually warms the area onto the skin. It increases your circulation, increases muscle tone, and it improves the appearance of the skin generally.
Guys, so in what way does it improve it? Does it take away all the skin?
Yeah, probably doesn't mean anything to you, but you've got you've got lymph in your skin, which is a cleansing, gets detoxifying. So all your waste materials and anything, you work it up into there, and it soon cleanses it.
Oh, right. And how often do you have to have it done? Like, does it come back? Is it kind of like decimates or something? You have to have it cleansed off?
Yeah, I mean, for it to be effective, normally 3 times a week.
Oh, right.
So.
Just thought I'd come over here and have a little bit of a bike ride, burn off some energy, until I get my facial. Oh, wow, that looks like peanut butter. So what does it do?
It's a natural aromatherapy mask, and we apply the oils to the skin. We then apply this to gauze over the skin, and it causes the pores to open and enables penetration of the oils. It's a mixture of vitamin powder with sesame seeds and sunflower seeds.
That sounds edible. Can you eat it?
You can. It doesn't taste very nice,
Yes.
but you can.
Let's get to
Right, let's put it on. It's going to spread the gauze to start with. And then so you can breathe, we're going to place one over the upper half
Bye, guys.
And one over the lower. Once that cools down, which will be about 10 minutes' time, it can come off. And that's the mask completed.
So what does it actually do?
What it's doing is, we can use it either hot or cold. We're using it hot today because it causes what's called vasodilation.
I feel blind.
Bit claustrophobic. So what it enables us to do is the oils that are used underneath, they will be sealed into the skin, and therefore the mask then cools off and closes the pores. So it's excellent to open and close the pores to seal the oils into the skin. It's only something you can really have done in the salon, not at home.
No.
It's a bit difficult to do yourself.
So you can't just kind of crush sesame seeds and vitamin
No,
powder
I
and
don't think you
splash
get
on your
quite the
face?
same effect from
No.
that one. Right, this should be ready now. It's been on for 10 minutes. Can you feel that it's cooled down?
Oh, yeah.
Right, once it's cooled down, we can remove it because it means the mask has worked. And we just peel off.
I can see, it's a miracle. Oh, it's funny because it feels really,
Skin
really
very
silky.
soft.
Yeah.
Soft and silky.
Good.
And the great thing is, like a normal mask, you don't have to take all the oils off that you've used underneath because it stays on.
So it just keeps soaking in.
Keeps working.
Kind of, it's almost like what's that watch advertising? It keeps on ticking. God, so maybe we should do another take just to be sure. Let's see. Now, I've had my G5. I've had my mud pack facial, and I'm about to have the reflexology. That sounds pretty good. And I feel very relaxed.
Right, what I'm going to do is actually massage. You'll feel me massage and disperse crystallization, crystal deposits in the feet. What I'm actually trying to do is to stimulate the body to actually work naturally and balanced, normalized. By massaging, what I'm doing is stimulating the nerve endings, which increases the circulation, which therefore, what we want is a complete normalization again. Now, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just wondering, because I remember hearing about people that get very emotional when they have their feet massaged, and I was just wondering why that was.
Well, quite often, because of today's hectic lifestyle, a lot of people suffer with stress. Now, reflexology is exceedingly good for stress-related ailments. If a person comes to me that's suffering with stress, I won't treat one area of the body, I treat the whole of the body.
Right.
Because what you must remember is that the mind and the body work together as one.
Is this one of the few places that do people tend to come on their own, or do they come in couples? Or
Just a mixture, really. I mean, it is the sort of place that you can come to on your own and not feel left out, and it's a very easily place to make friends and start chatting to other people. People come for a variety of reasons, whether it's weight loss or weight gain, to be pampered, to de-stress, variety of reasons.
So if there's kind of a mission statement for Inglewood, what makes it different?
I think it's unique in the fact that it's relaxed, it's informal, it's friendly, but the services are there to keep the standards up as well.
Wow, what a day. My legs are relaxed, my feet are relaxed, my face is relaxed. I feel so sleepy now. I think I just might fall asleep right here.
You know, that's reminded me of a story that WMtv really should cover, and I think I ought to cover it myself, about relaxation therapies in Barbados. But on with the task in hand, I'm delighted to introduce to you two very relaxed-looking people, Marcus Wilder and Simon Croner from the Ashford Rotaract. Welcome. Now, it's Marcus sitting closest to me and Simon furthest away from me. Thanks very much for coming in. Tell us a little bit about Rotaract. Why is it Rotaract as opposed to the normal Rotary Club?
Well, Rotaract is basically just for younger people of the sort of 18 to 30-year-old age group, and we're probably a bit more active and a bit more social, and just going out having more fun really than maybe Rotary. There's mainly sort of businessmen, but so we just appeal to the younger age groups.
All right, so Rotaract would give you the impression that you're actually out doing acting type things. I mean, is that true? Do you actually sort of put on stage shows and things?
Yes, we had try and run a pantomime every year just after Christmas for the pensioners in Ashford and Staines area, and all it is, we just get as many pensioners as we can along and ply them with copious amounts of sherry. And
that goes down very well.
Yes, then the afternoon culminates in a pantomime that's put on maybe 20 minutes, half an hour long, and everybody has a great time.
But presumably you have a lot of fun putting it all together.
Yeah, I mean, that's half the fun of it, like the members of the club getting together, writing the script and doing things like the sound effects, so on and so forth. That's half the fun of it, getting all the makeup, the costumes together and seeing it culminating in the event in the afternoon.
Sounds like a lot of fun. So you've got a whole range of ages doing that kind of thing.
Yes.
What about, you were also telling me earlier about something involving lots of wet sponges. Now, what was that all about? Because I think we might have a photograph of that coming up later on.
Well, what happened was back in July...
There we are, there we go. It's the, it's the photograph. Is that either one of you there?
That's Simon on the left. What happened was, it was the Ashford Hospital annual fete. We were invited along to have a stall there. And we turned up with our stocks and charged people 20p to throw 4 wet sponges at us, or for £1 they could throw the whole bucket of water over us.
Oh, that was not too bad. Did you raise a lot of money?
Raised about £30.
That's not bad, is it? You must have got very, very wet.
We were very drenched.
It was worth it, though.
Yeah.
Did you have lots of relatives throwing them at you, or was it just sort of members of the public?
We were just accosting members of the general public, saying, you know, take out your frustrations of the day, lob some water at us.
Right, so it was a good fun way of raising some money.
It was.
Now, I gather you're raising money in another way as well. You put a particular scheme at the moment related to Bosnia, is that right?
It's Romania.
Romania, I'm sorry. Bosnia's on everybody's mind. I just thought it had to be Bosnia.
Yeah.
For Romania, what exactly are you doing?
What we're doing, we're working in conjunction with the Romanian Relief Fund. We've managed to borrow 2 transit vans, and we're hopefully filling them up with things like children's clothes, baby foods, pharmaceuticals, toys, blankets, and we're going to drive the 2 vehicles out to Romania, visit a couple of orphanages and say to them, we've got these things for you, there you go.
That's excellent, that is just so good. And how long have you been working on this?
We've been working on it now since the end of July, beginning of August time. The project started. We're still in the relatively early stages. We're trying to get permission from the Romanian government to actually go out there, get the visas sorted out. Most of the equipment is beginning to come together. We're being told by certain people, yes, you can have this, when would you like it?
Right.
And it should all culminate in December, because we aim to leave on the 10th of December for 6 days.
So what's going to happen to this year's Panto?
We should be back in time for the Panto.
Back in time for
we'll
the
be
Panto,
back in time
because
for
we
the
don't
Panto.
want to miss wonderful shots like I believe we've got one coming up now of you doing the Panto last year. We just do not want to miss that.
We'll send you in another photo.
Yes, we want to see the next photo. We want to see whether you can beat that one. So how many people have you actually got as part of Rota Act versus the local Rotary Club?
We've got about 20 members at the moment. There's maybe a hardcore of maybe about a dozen or so of us, and there's another sort of few others that will come along to as many events as possible, just to swell the numbers. Normally the more important community things like the wet sponge throwing, and you know, everybody comes in for the pantomime, whether it's just, you know, helping on the tables with the OAPs, or acting in the pantomime itself.
Right, so it sounds like you've got 2 objectives. One is to have fun, and one is to help in the community and raise money.
That's correct,
right.
yeah.
Great. Well, that's lovely. It's been great having you in today, and I wish you best of luck with your appeal for Romania. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
If you'd like to contact Ashford Rotaract, their telephone number is 0784 256 325. That's 0784 256 325. We have to take a break now, but coming up later on the programme, we take a look at the longest canoe race in Britain and the BCF Over 50s Race Championship, as well as Sharon McCluskey on the Family Channel telling us about the autumn lineup, the full unedited, uncut version of Corduroy's new video, the Cable Corporation's special competition, and Tom Magner goes not in search of paradise, but humour. See you after the break.
HQ for the best in alternative modern fashions.
HQ for the best in travelling and camping equipment. HQ for the best in workwear. HQ for the best quality, the best price, and a superb, friendly service. HQ is in Slough, made and ready. HQ, you'll find what you want.
Here are some important points you need to know about the Sweet Shop. The Sweet Shop offers unbeatable style, quality, and a range of furniture to suit every taste. A comprehensive home furnishing service, from delightful wallpapers to breathtaking fabrics. All this with superb value and the option of deferred payment or interest-free credit, and as you'd expect, free delivery at your convenience. The Sweet Shop can be found at the Ideal Home Superstore, just off Junction 7 of the M4.
Welcome back to Scene on 7. Now, I love it when the nights are drawing in. It reminds me of happy childhood memories, and there's my birthday too, so you mustn't forget that. But there are many downsides to darker mornings and earlier nights. Surrey County Council issued figures this week highlighting the dangers to car drivers of children riding bicycles to and from school. Apparently the worst times for accidents are between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the mornings and 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the evenings during the autumn. In the last 3 years, over half of road casualties involving children under the age of 16 have occurred during these times. It's essential that children, especially when they're riding bikes, are made as visible as possible. And drivers, please remember that children are back at school and more likely to be travelling certain routes to get themselves to and from school. So please drop your speed and be alert to cyclists. In line with Age Concern Week, which runs from 18th to the 24th of September, Tesco's have come up with a neat way of helping you choose a gift for an elderly friend or relative. They've put together a home health range. It's basically a range of products chosen specially with the elderly in mind to make everyday living a little bit easier. The products include things such as bath seats, travel chairs, tap turners, special bottle openers. I think I could do with one of those. And there should be leaflets in your local store and a range of goods on display. Whilst we're on the subject of the elderly, Berkshire's Family Respite Care Scheme, which is for people who are elderly or physically disabled, have launched an appeal to find more carers. Last year, more than 60 people who might otherwise have had to go into residential care were looked after in the community for periods of anything from a few hours to several months, simply because respite carers were used to provide family-style support, friendship and practical assistance. No formal qualifications are needed, but new carers are given an induction period and then ongoing support from the Social Services Department. Anyone who might be interested in learning more about the Family Respite Scheme should contact Marie on 0734 770 387. That's 0734 370. Sorry, I'll say that again. 0734 770 387. Now, Sunday the 11th of September saw a great deal of sport in the WMtv region, and not just the normal football or rugby. The BCF Over 50s Road Championship race took place. The riders did 10 laps of a 7-mile circuit, passing Harefield, Churchill, South Harefield, through Harville Road towards Uxbridge, left at Swakesley's Road, and then into Breakspear Road, and back up to Harefield. And believe it or not, they did that 10 times in all. There was a supportive attendance from the community, as well as the police who helped ensure everything went smoothly. The competitors included defending champion 54-year-old Dave Nye, ex-Tour de France star Bobby Adey, and local ex-professional Brian Todman. Sid Lovett of Finsbury Park came first with a time of 3 hours 13 minutes. Peter Matthews of the Liverpool Mercury Club came in second, 13 seconds behind the winner, and one of our own, David Nye from Twickenham, last year's defending champion, came in third. As you can see, the weather conditions were ideal. Slough Museum is no longer waiting for you to come and visit it, instead it's coming to visit you. Slough Museum is going mobile. The plan is to send special displays around areas which include Britwell, Burnham, Chalvey, Sippenham, Manor Park, Upton and Upton Lee. Echoes of Langley will be the first mobile display. The museum is requesting that anyone who's got documents, photographs or objects relating to Langley, which they'd like to lend or even donate to the museum, should contact Leslie Hackett on 01753 526 422. That's 01753 526 422. And as you can see, they're using the extra 1 at the beginning there. Now, if you're a woman and you work for the Berkshire Probation Service, don't forget about their Women's Forum annual conference, this year entitled Taking Control. The programme's been designed to highlight the particular value of women's skills and perspectives, both in general and in terms of the probation service. Its aim is to encourage female staff to recognise and get recognition for their special talents. And while we're on the subject, here at WMtv, we too will be focusing our attention on women and their world in a special Scene on 7 in 3 weeks' time. If you have any stories or issues that you'd like to see featured on that programme, give me a call and leave a message on the number that I'll just be reading out for you, which is 081 476 6355. That number will be coming up again at the end of the programme. Now there's some more sport, and if you happen to be between Braylock and Windsor on Sunday, the 11th, you might have seen the finishing of a very, very, very long canoe race. In fact, it was the longest canoe race in Britain. Its aims are to raise funds for charity, and it's into its 11th year. This gruelling test of stamina started in Bristol and ended at Windsor Bridge. It was organised by the Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service. Claire Warren, the Lord Mayor of Bristol, started the race at 12:30 p.m. The route took the participants through Bath, Devizes, Hungerford, Newbury, Aldermaston, Braylock and Windsor. One of the organisers, Dennis Martin, who is sub-officer with the Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service, is reported to have said, "A firefighter's job is all about teamwork, and this race is a good example of it. The race is tiring, exciting and sometimes unnerving, but it's good fun too and a tremendous way of raising money." It looks as if the supporters had fun too as well on a lovely bright Sunday morning. The winning team was the Atherton 8 with a time of 20 hours 38 minutes. Second was the Broughton Fire Station with a time of 21 hours 48 minutes. Third was the Windsor Fire Station with a time of 22 hours 13 minutes. And the Wraysbury Warriors came in fifth with a time of 22 hours 34 minutes at 11:16 a.m. on the Sunday morning. Quite a race there, eh? I'm no good at all in the mornings at the best of times, so I don't think I'll be signing up the WMtv for the WMtv team for next year's longest canoe race, although I'm sure everyone else here today would love to take part, wouldn't you guys? Oops, no one's saying yes. Now, enough from me. As promised last week, we can now show you the video of the new single from Corduroy, and watch out for the answer to the competition we set last week and the names of the lucky winners who went to the Old Trout.
I like the way that it don't take much for you to start. The destination's clear. You got freedom in your eyes. All right. You know me, no one takes me further than you. Don't you look at me that way. You know it's true. You know it's true. Now I realize you've got freedom in your eyes. My love is no surprise to you. Oh, baby, no one takes me further than you. Don't you look at me that way. You know it's true. Maybe no one takes me further than you. Oh, maybe no one takes me further than you. You got freedom.
I'm sure the winners of that competition had a great night at the Old Trout. Excuse me. Now here at Scene on 7, we try to bring you news and information from around the area that will interest you and get you involved in local activities. Obviously there are other channels available to you as a cable viewer with other objectives. One such channel is the Family Channel. It aims to offer the viewer programmes for the entire family. Now we're going to be taking a look at what the Family Channel's new season offers us, and we'll be having a chat with Sharon McCluskey of the Family Channel. So take a look.
The only real piece of evidence we've got is that he saw the body, and instead of reporting it, he ran away.
Yes, there's something definitely written here, only I can't read it. Let's just darken these letters and see what comes up.
Are we here to judge the motives of our every client? No. Ours is not the reason why. Do lawyers not defend people they know are guilty of sin? Do doctors not treat patients they know are gonna die? Do teachers not teach students they know are dumb as stumps?
We are not taking this case.
No?
No.
Maddie, you're not hearing me.
I'm sick of hearing you.
I feel an obligation here.
All right, kids, go on. Down you come. That's it. Oh, here we go. Good. Come on, sweetheart, get your kids. Oh, lovely. Come on, then.
And here in the studio we've got Sharon with us today. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
All the way from Maidstone in Kent, where you've got where your offices are based, is that right?
That's right. We have two offices, one in London and our studios, which are based down in Kent.
Right. Now that looks like quite a full lineup coming up for us. What exactly, what have you got coming our way?
Well, we relaunched the schedule on the 5th of September, and we have programmes such as The Darling Buds of May, which is really the jewel in the crown for us. That goes on Tuesday evenings, and we've got 21-hour episodes, which we just purchased from Yorkshire Television.
That's brilliant, because programmes like that, they go out, you watch them, and you don't always get to see them again, so it's a great facility to be able to see them again.
It's perfect for us as well, because it was filmed just in the village of Pluckley, which is around the corner from the studios. So it's almost like coming home, because it's quite familiar settings.
Oh, that's, yeah, so it must be sort of really nice to see that going out and sort of make it feel like part of the Family Channel, sort of.
And it's great to see David Jason back on the screen again with Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's just gorgeous, of course.
We won't talk about her.
No, absolutely. Carry on, next one.
Now, also on the lineup, you've got a new game show called Trivial Pursuit.
Well, we've shown Trivial Pursuit before, but we just recently finished a brand new series of it. It's hosted by Tony Slattery. I think we've got 65 half-hour episodes, which we're showing at the moment. They run during the week. We're quite excited about that because it was made down in the Maidstone Studios again by a company called Action Time. And we have local people, and in fact we've got people from local cable areas participating in the show as well, which is quite good.
So that's fun, getting everybody involved.
Yeah, so you might see some faces that you know.
Yes. Now also you've got things like, one of my most favourite series was Moonlighting. That's coming back on the screen.
I love Moonlighting. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant to see Bruce Willis with so much hair. But,
yes, I mean, I feel quite dated watching that, but I really am looking forward to it coming on because...
Well, it's just that there's a fantastic rapport between the two characters, Sybil Shepherd and Bruce in this Blue Moon agency, and it's just the wit just doesn't date at all. It's fantastic. Good
I was going to say,
entertainment.
it's not dated at all, has it? And the humour and when they're playing off of each other.
Yes, it's brilliant. You just wish they'd get it together and get on with it, but it's brilliant.
And it's one of those things that you can actually understand how Bruce Willis took off so much at that time.
Oh, yes,
because
exactly.
it's excellent.
He's really definitely progressed very well from television through to movies.
Yeah.
So we're very pleased with that as an acquisition.
Right. And then you've got things like Tintin and...
Yeah, Tintin's, what we try to do is give something for younger viewers because we follow on from the children's channel in the evening. So Tintin's shown every evening at 5 o'clock, and it follows the adventures of Tintin and takes him throughout Europe and England as well. So there's some really good adventures there. It's supposed to be for young people, but I'm a big fan of it myself.
Yes, I love it too, but it's like there are certain cartoons that I didn't enjoy when I was younger, but actually I enjoy more now.
But it's a real cult, it's a real classic, so
Yeah.
we're very pleased with that one as well.
Now tell us a little bit about the studios that you've got down in Kent, because that you've got a lot of ground and a lot of studios down there.
There's
haven't
actually the old TVS studios. There were, I think it's 11.5 acres of studios that we have down there. It's a fabulous big building which we're all very proud of. And we make quite a lot of our own original productions there. So we've made Trivial Pursuit, we've made Family Catchphrase down there, which are just exclusive to the Family Channel, so you won't see them anywhere else. And we've also just made a series called Second Guess, which stars Andrew O'Connor, and that's also running throughout the autumn as well, which is based around families. So they have generations of different families coming, so you get everybody from teenagers through to grandparents. Now we have, as I said, we have an awful lot of studio space, so we also have other people's productions going on there, so it's almost an independent business as well. So it's quite an exciting place to work because you bump into all sorts of people. I must admit the only person I've seen so far is Andy Crane.
Oh, well.
But you can catch him
Give
on
it
Motormouth.
time. And so these programmes that we've been talking about are actually running at the moment. You said they started on September the 5th.
Yes, they started on September the 5th. We've launched a fairly intensive advertising campaign, so we have new commercials which have gone out as well. So we have almost a new identity for the Family Channel, with things appealing to all members of the family. So you'll have to watch out for the promotions which are running in the cable guide in the next 2 months, which feature Ruth Rendell Mysteries, which of course we're very proud of because of Inspector Wexford, and also Tintin. So everybody who participates in, I think it's October's, with the Ruth Rendell Mystery gets a free book. Everybody
Brilliant.
who phones in and gets the right answer, and everybody who phones in and gets the right answer in October gets a free Family Channel watch.
Great. Well, that's lots of things to keep watching the channel for. Thanks ever so much for coming in,
It's my
Sharon.
pleasure.
I feel like there's so much to watch. I wouldn't actually know where to start.
I
so
know,
it's
well,
great.
tune in. Okay.
Thanks very much for
It's a
coming
pleasure.
in. Now, last week we had the first of our new Cable Corporation competitions, where you can win free cable television for a whole year. Last week's winner was Christopher Parsons of Langley. He correctly answered the question, which cable channel shows the new programme Infatuations? The answer is, of course, UK Living. This week's question is, which cable channel will be showing Lennox Lewis's next World Championship fight against Oliver McCall? I'll say that again. Which cable channel will be showing Lennox Lewis's next World Championship fight against Oliver McCall? Is it A, Sky Sport, B, Eurosport, or C, Wire TV? The number to call is 0891 299 800. That's 0891 299 800. Your calls will cost 39p cheap rate and 49p at all other times, but your call will cost no more than 75p in total. We'll announce the winner of this week's competition next week on Scene on 7. If you call and leave the right answer, remember you could win a free cable television for a whole year. Now, I've never been very good at competitions, treasure hunts or any kind of mind games. Tom Magner, on the other hand, is a whiz at working out tricky problems. Just as well it's him and not me on the trail of the Bearcat. Now, apparently, this report is all to do with comedy, adult comedy, so you've been warned, and we're not supposed to say alternative comedy anymore. It's just all too confusing for me. I wouldn't know where to start on this one, so it's just as well it's over to Tom.
Down the ages, mythical creatures have stirred the imagination, just like the legendary Bearcat. Another tall tale until we got a cryptic message in the office the other day. It said, head into London on the A316, stop near a Scottish saint's place, and look for an area where you can store cabbages. Well, a little strange perhaps, but we've got the A316, we've got St Margaret's over there. All we need now is the vegetable plot for this story. Aha, you see, there we have it. Here you are, you see. Coal, cabbage, coleslaw. Park, store. So we're really hot on the trail now. Now all I've got to do, according to the cryptic message, is to look through the trees and find a sign of an ornamental knot woven with delight. I'm here. Aha, the Turk's Head. Another knotty problem solved. As you can see, the trail's brought us to the Bearcat Comedy Club in the pub's Winchester rooms, and to our next clue on the trail, a small basket of strawberries. Meanwhile, while I'm up on stage, let's try a joke. I say, my dog's got no nose. How does he smell? Terrible. The man with the fruity name is none other than the club's compere and co-founder, James Punnett. 10 years of comic trailblazing. What's the secret?
Well, it's interesting you call me a compere, Tom, because unlike other clubs, we don't use the compere system here at the Bearcat Club. We have our own unique mix of music and laughter. I just MC the acts, bring them on, and that seems to have worked for us over the 10 years.
So why are you now deciding to dip a toe in the business water?
Well, it's about time everybody saw how good these acts are. We've had everyone here right from the start. Harry Enfield, Julian Clary, Rory Bremner, they've all started out here. And we want to spread the news out, and even these corporate people can have a look at them.
James, thanks for talking to us. Now you can tell me where to go.
Well, I think it's about time you went to look for some real comedy, Tom.
Saturday, right, Mr. Kipling? Drank a whole bottle of nail varnish remover as a result of a bet with Captain Birdseye. Completely lost the power of speech. Following Tuesday, right, Mr. Kipling? I regained consciousness in Hyde Park, bereft of my trousers and my favourite yellow spotted hanky. Was violently sick over a little doggy. That evening, felt a little bit depressed after choir practice. Bought a whole bottle of Vim and snorted it. Whilst watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre on video, the colours were particularly vivid that evening. Reds and yellows and pinks and greens. Oh, yes, I can sing a rainbow. And after all, isn't that the way it should be? When it comes to chemical additives, Mr. Kipling's cakes are exceedingly full of the buggers.
Logan, a love of poetry, newsreaders.
Yes.
Where did you get your material from?
Other people. I believe in plagiarism as an art form. I've been doing it for a long time now, and I tend to plagiarise dead people because they're not so good at litigation. And if, of course, anybody realises that's what I'm doing, I'll just tell them it's a tribute to them. So, really, that's it.
You've turned now, haven't you? Come out for a good evening at a comedy, the first act comes on and goes, "Hello, I'm a poet!" Ah! It's a bit like walking up to somebody in the street going, "Socialist worker," isn't it? You just,
Did you wake up one morning and say, "I want to be a comedian"?
No. Well, I started off doing poetry, really. Basically, 7 years ago, which is when I started, it was a much different business from how it is now, and it was very it was almost like strolling gentleman players. Not to be sexist, because there were a lot of women then, and still are, but it was like a amateur status, and none of us believed it would run for a couple of years or beyond a couple of years, and of course it's been going from strength to strength. So it started off as just an enjoyable way to go out, get drunk, and have my beer paid for at the end of an evening. And then as people realised more and more money could be made out of it, you know, the gigs went on.
Reading the jokes, folks. And we've got rent men in Northern Ireland, you know, rent men. People who collect rent. Over here in England, you've got rent boys, for everything. You people are mad. You shouldn't give your rent to a boy. He'd lose it, he'd buy sweets with it, for God's sake. Oh no, we've got men to do that type of thing. Oh yeah. My grandfather is always coming out with proverbs, but he never finishes them off. I was running his house and he said to me, I can't find anything in this house. It's like looking for a pork chop. What are you talking about, Grandfather? Anyway, this rent man came to the door, and he knocked on the door, and my grandfather answered the door, because he's sharp like that. He never misses a trick, you know? And the rent man said, I'm looking for the rent. And my grandfather said, are you? Well, come on in, and the both of us will look for it. Well.
Owen, how does the Bearcat audience compare to other audiences?
Well, the Bearcat audience, I think, are a very intelligent audience because they've been coming to... The Bearcat Club has been going for 10 years. So, you know, they come every week, they know the score, and I'd say they're a very good audience.
How much harder is that?
It's not harder, it's easier, in fact. I mean, it's, if you get an audience that you know, reads newspapers, for instance, if you get an audience that kind of know what's going on in the world, it kind of helps, especially if you're doing, you know, topical material. But I think just an audience that knows, you know, that have been to a comedy club before. I mean, I can't really explain, you know, I mean, there's audiences that I've seen who just, you know, don't know how to behave. You know, they get up and they sit down and they talk to each other and they, you know, they think it's TV. You know, they think the adverts are going to come on in a minute or something, you know. So, you know, I mean, so I think it's easier if an audience are good.
When it all began, did you just wake up one morning and say, I want to be a comedian?
No, I wish it was all about that easy. No, I mean, I did poetry back in the early 80s, 81, 82. I was doing, you know, poetry. There was a sign that said poems for pints. It was, you know, very bohemian, and went in, and if you read a couple of your own poems, you got a couple of pints. And so I brought in a couple of T.S. Eliot's. And so, no, that was how I got started. And then I started, you know, doing little bits and pieces of my own and little, you know, comic poetry, and people started to laugh, and I thought, oh, this is good, you know. And plus, it was the only job that I was ever asked back to do, to be honest. What a night. What a night. Before I go, my grandfather told me a joke, right? This is like a gag, and you've probably heard it, but it's such a great gag, and it made me laugh so much. And he said to me, you've got to tell it, when you go to London, tell the fucking joke. I said, fair enough. He said, this is the joke, right? And if you've heard it, don't shout out the punchline, because it's not fair. But this is a joke that's brilliant. It's this Bosnian football player, and he signs for Liverpool, and it's half-time. Liverpool are down 1-0, and it's about 5 minutes to go, and the Bosnian player scores 3 goals, and the cop go berserk, mental, and it's fantastic, and they come off, and the guy's so happy, and he says to Roy Evans, he says, look, I want to ring my mum, and he goes, well, it's half-time, I mean, he said, oh, please. I said, well, okay, go ahead. So he rings up his mum, and he goes, Mum, yeah, I'm just playing for Liverpool, I've scored 3 goals, the cop love me. Fantastic, put Dad on the phone. And she said, I'm sorry, son, but your dad's been taken out and shot. You know, well, I put my sister on. I'm sorry, son, your sister's been raped and had her throat cut. Oh, God. And she said, listen, his mother said to him, I blame you. He said, why, what have I done? She said, well, it was you who persuaded us to move to Liverpool in the first place. You'll be telling it tomorrow. Thank you very much, and good night. Bye-bye.
When Sam Bowen's not playing it, she's second fiddle in the fresh-faced Bearcat Comedy Company. What will you be doing to tempt big companies to give comedy a serious try?
Well, what we're doing is offering them a tailor-made package. So whether they want to use comedy for a product launch, for a conference, for a golf day, the whole package is built specifically around them.
How are you going to keep that near-knuckle flavour and sort of avoid offending the people of a more sensitive disposition?
Well, it can be as risky as they want it to be. So if they want to take the mickey out of the company director or the accounts department, they can do. If they want to play safe, they can do. So whatever they want is what they get.
Oi, get off! You're not having another go.
So there we have it. The Bearcat Comedy Club, a breeding ground for new talent. And talking of new talent, there's just time for that one last joke. Now, have you heard the one? Oh!
Now, how many paranoids does it take to change a light bulb? Why do you want to know? No? No, there we are. I think that is well and truly it for 1 week. On behalf of everyone here at WMtv, thank you for watching. Remember the Moving magazine and the September freebies coming up directly after the programme. And if you have anything you'd like to put on the Moving magazine, or any suggestions or good jokes even for WMtv, you can write to us at Scene on 7, PO Box 7, Slough, SL3 6ET. And for the freebies, you can call 081 476 6355. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching the show as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. And until next week, take care.